All right, might as well get started, I guess. Do we have everybody on the line? Is Sasha and Subhash, are you on?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Jay, are you on the line? I'll give him another minute or two if he calls in.
While we connect you to the bridge. Enter your access code or meeting number followed by pound. Enter your attendee ID number followed by pound.
Sorry, I'm not sure where Jay is, my colleague here. Maybe he'll join us. Join? All right, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get started. So we want to cover the rest of the DB2 administration, as well as go into the BG config release procedure. So, assuming you can see my screen, it's the DB2 administration, that's the title. So last time we went over the US database server for DB2, along with the India database server. We talked about SQL Developer, how to set up the jar files, and how to make a connection with DB2, and then how to run commands. We looked at the file structure on both the US and India server, in terms of where things are, product names, databases, etc. We looked at some commands here. We looked at how to start up DB2, we looked at how to shut down DB2. Then we looked at how to connect to the database. We looked at how to run SQL commands. We looked at how to run them one by one, run batch files. stopped off here at DB2 version and license information.
Just want to kind of go over a few of these commands here. You can read them through them here. So there's some general commands here to give you some information on the DB2. There's a DB2 level, which will tell you the version, the fix, the install path, and all that information. DB2 LS gives you similar type information, a little bit more. And then there's a command there that gives you the license information, DB2 license. And I'll show you the different, whether you get the appropriate license or not. Let's see here. Okay, so that's some general information on the version and licensing. Then there are some instance level commands here. There's a DB2 get instance, which will give you the instance name, which is usually always DB2 INST1. There's on the instance level, there are registry variables and there are parameters. So that DB2 get DBM CFG, that gives you all the DB2 parameters at the instance level. And then there's registry parameters as well. These set things on a kind of global basis. That's DB2 set minus all. And then you can get a database directory, a listing of all the databases under the instance, the DB2 list database directory. And then if you want a listing of all the active databases, that is, the databases are active if there's at least one connection to them, or if there also are special commands which will activate and deactivate the database. They do that explicitly. Normally, a database gets activated when someone makes the first connection. But if you want to keep it active all the time, you can run an activate command, which will keep it active all the time. So that DB2 list active databases, that gives you a listing of the whatever the databases that are active under the instance. So, and then there are some database level commands there. These are specific for specific databases under the instance, such as BG freeze QA would be a particular database under the DB2 INST instance. Databases themselves have configuration parameters, and to get those configuration parameters, you would run this first command here, DB2 get DBCFG for the particular database name to show detail, allow you to show some more details than normally would show. If you want to update a parameter, you would use this DB2 update command here. The DB2 update DBCFG for the database name, like BG freeze QA. Using is the terminology they use, and then they have the parameter name and the parameter value. So you can see an example here for updating the parameter log second. So this would go to the database BG freeze QA, and it would update the parameter log second to 10. And the log second is basically DB2 uses log files and has primary log files, which are always available. And then if it needs more log space, it goes to secondary log files. And this would indicate how many secondary log files it's going to create. Some of these parameters, just like Oracle, some of them are dynamic and some of them are static. If they're dynamic, they, of course, take place right away. If they're static, then you have to bounce the database. Usually that typically means disconnecting everyone and then reconnecting again. So the database will reactivate. Then there are some commands here for storage. See, for getting more information, this DB2 PD command is a typical command we use to try to get more information on the database level, and I think on the instance level as well. So you can get information on the storage, information on table space, and then I guess I repeated the list active databases command here. So I thought I'd just pop up a putty session. We would just a few of these. If you want to
take a look at what the actual output would be for these. So, can you see my pipe session?
Yeah.
Okay, great. We had a little trouble with that last time. So now I've connected to the US server, which is DB4-DB2-2. I connected and logged in as DB2-INST1, and so now I'm connected as the DB2 administrative login. So I'll just run a few of these. The DB2 level, as I indicated. So this DB2 level, it just gives you information about the instance. And so you can see that here that information tokens here. So this gives you the version here. So it's DB2 10.5.0.7. DB2 10.5 Expect 7. And then this will give you any special patches that have been applied. And I think we did apply a special patch that DB2 gave, that IBM gave us. And here's the fixback patch, fixback 7. And this indicates where the product is installed. The product is installed at U01 3P DB2 version 10.5. So that's the DB2 level. DB2 LS gives you the same type of information. Maybe the same type of thing. I think it's really the same. Gives you a little bit more of the install date, but not a lot more than the other one.
Okay.
License, I won't get into. We've got I think our license is normally end use. Of course, we get a whole license from IBM. I think we've got a developer type license or an OEM or a partner type license. I guess is what we from IBM, so we get to install whatever we want and be able to develop for it and support it. So I'm going to look at these instance level commands now. The DB2 get instance. This just gives you the instance name. As a current database near instance is DB2-INST1. There's a DB2 get CFG. This will give you all of the instance level configuration parameters.
Okay. Okay.
We don't. Once we get this installed, we don't usually touch these too much. It's more of the database parameters that we might touch. But I guess this we do. During the initial installation, we do set some of these. I think there's a whole bunch of them, and if you're curious about them, you go to IBM's website and look for DB2 10.5 parameters. IBM has a pretty good website that they've got to get different different information. They actually have different versions of the pages. Depending on what DB2 version you have, so you can select the version right up top on the page. So it's kind of nice if you want to look at 10.5 or the 11 version, whatever. But all the information is up there. It's pretty good as the different parameters. Let's take a look now. So those are the instance level parameters and their values. So you see this is the parameter name, this is the value, and you can see what they're currently set to. There also are what they call like registry type parameters, which are, I guess, more global parameters. To get those, you would do a DB2 minus all, DB2 set minus all. And so the DB2 set minus all, you're kind of global level parameters that indicate. Some of these we do need to set when we install the DB2. They're not set by default. You can take a look at the compatibility vector. I think it's one that we do. This compatibility vector makes the DB2 act like Oracle, so we can run a lot of the Oracle type stuff. We just put it over to DB2 and run it. That works most of the time, but in some cases we need to still tweak it a little bit. But it is pretty good compatibility between the two once you set this parameter. Then there's another one here. This is DTS enable. I think that's automatic scheduler. We need that set up, be running. There are a number of different source features which we run, which are run asynchronously. Schedule them. Schedule run them at a later time. We're actually run them and pick them up. Okay, so auto start parameter, which will automatically start D2 when it comes up. That's the main ones we got here.
Okay, so those are the registry parameters. And then there's, you can list the databases under each by using the DB2 list database. DB2 list database directory. So that's all the databases that we have under this DB2 INSP instance on the US server. So you can pretty much tell what they are just by the name that was given us. This is a BG freeze reporting database. BG does use a reporting database now. We don't have software, unlike Golden Gate with Oracle, we don't have a Golden Gate, the IBM equivalent to Golden Gate here. We have not set that up. So they're responsible for maintaining that replication part of that reporting database. We do maintain the reporting database itself. As long as they maintain replication, we do support them using our reporting database through our software. So that's why we have a BG Freeze reporting database set up. And you can see all these other ones here. As I said, self-explanatory. This is the BGC Skid QA, and then there's the Freeze QA, Freeze Dev I, all these different environments that the databases that we've got set up here. And there are environments all attached to all of these databases. So that's the listing of the database directories, and now we can list the active databases. Take a look at that. So we need to list active databases. So these are all the databases that have an active connection to them, or have been explicitly activated. So we should see most of them are, of course, because we've got environments on all of them. Just for demo purposes, there is one that I think isn't active, has an active connection to it. I think it's like we set up a temp database for BG Freeze QA.
What do you mean by active database?
A database is active typically if there's at least one connection to it. That's what makes a database active. So there has to be at least one connection to it. If there's no connections, then it's not active.
Okay. So I thought it might be GPP active and reporting that. It's not that way.
No, that's correct. That's something different. Yeah, this is a DB2 term.
Okay.
Active database, meaning that there's at least one connection. In fact, I'll try to show you that right now. Let me do the DB2 list database 3. This is a directory of every database. I do TNP BG F2A, one of the databases. So it's listed as a database. So it's a database. But now let me look at it and see if it's an active database. See, it's not an active database, right? Active connections are. That's right. There's at least one connection to it. That's what active means. So you can see this database TMP BG FQA is a database that's listed, so we know it's a database that's not active. So now I'm going to make it active. I'm just going to connect to it. So when you connect to a database, there's a little lag here because it needs to set up everything. That first log files and setting up parameters and doing all this other stuff in the background. So you'll notice there's going to be, when you first connect to the database, for the first time, it's going to be a little lag. So it's now connected, so you can see the database connection information. So you can see the data server information, and then you've got the third line there is the actual database we're connected to, so it's TMP, BG, FQA, and then this is how we're connected, what user we're connected in. We're connected as the administrative user, DB2 INST1. So now if I go back and I look for active databases and I grab the same database back before, it didn't return anything. Now it's going to return the database. So you can see now it's considered an active database by DB2. So that's basically what an active database means. Now let me just take a look at the database level commands. The typical one we look at here is we look at the different configuration parameters for a particular database. So to do that, we need to use the DB2 get dbcfg command. So let me just plug that in here. So it's DB2 get dbcfg for the particular database. And I'm going to use bgfzqa. It's our bgfreeze QA database. So if I do that, you can see all these. It looks the same type of thing as for the instance, but there's just different parameters. There's a whole slew of parameters, as you can see, all do different things. What are some of the ones that we typically look at here? We maybe tweak a little bit. We usually tweak the log parameters. So if you want to look at particular parameters, like the way to do it is pipe it in and grab whatever keyword you want to look at. So here are the log type parameters. Anything that has log in the name. So you can see ones that we usually tweak are this log file size, log primary, and log secondary. So this log file size indicates the size of each log file that DB2 keeps. And this is 5,000, and that's 5,000 4K blocks is what that amounts to. And then we have the log primary and log second. Log primary, as I indicated, I think before, is DB2 keeps a set of primary log files. It will establish those right away and allocate the space for those right away. There are 50 now for this database. So there's 50 primary log files, each of size 5,000 4K blocks. And DB2 will set that up right away when you initially connect to a database. Then if DB2 needs to, and it's exceeded those primary log files, it will then dynamically create secondary log files. And it has the parameter here indicates to connect up to 50 secondary log files. That'd be 50 log files, again, of size 5,000 4K blocks. So that's the way that the logging works for DB2. And this is kind of the equivalent of Oracle's redo logs. This is really what this is equivalent of. Although I think it also uses them to do undo as well. There's a separate undo for DB2. So those are the parameters at the database level. That's how to list them and how to grep for particular ones. Now to update them, there's an update command. If we wanted to update a particular parameter, let's say we wanted to update this log second. I won't actually do it, but I'll show you the command to do it. So this is what we would do. So let's say we want to bump that up to 100, looks like. So this would be the command and how to change that parameter. So you do DB2 update dbconfig or bg freeze QA, and you use that word using. So it's using and the parameter name and then the parameter value. So we'll be using log second 100. So this would bump up the log second parameter from 50 to 100. And it's a dynamic parameter, so that would happen right away. If you wanted to bump up the log primary, then that's a static parameter. So you would need to basically bounce connections to the database, and then reconnect to the database, and then that log primary parameter would kick in. So I won't actually do this here. I just want to show you that command. And then I mentioned that DB2 PD command. That's a command you just get a listing of a lot of different things. One of the things you can do storage or table spaces or whatever. I guess I probably won't show that. But that's a good resource if you want to get listings of various things for DB2.
So table space are added per database, right?
Excuse me?
Table spaces are added per database, right?
Yeah, table spaces will be for each database. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so you set up the different table spaces for each database.
Okay.
So I can go back to my main slide here. And actually, maybe I'll just show you the table spaces just so as we're here. I'll show you this DB2 command. This DB2 PD minus DB. And I'll do DB2A minus table spaces. Okay. All right, so this just gives you a whole bunch of information on these different table spaces here. So I'll give you the different table space configuration. DB2 has different types of table spaces. I think there's like DF, there's SMS, there's a third one, I think, automatic type storage space, table space. If you want to get more details on that, I'd probably go to the IBM website and look up some information on those. We've got some various types here that we use. Usually, the one we mainly use for data, the automatic table space, that the type table space that DB2 has, and that's they kind of started out with they had like DMS, and then they had the SMS, and then they had these automatic storage ones, table spaces, which are kind of a combination of the two. What the DMS, I think it is most like what we're familiar with Oracle. Kind of have you kind of set up a table space. You have a particular file system file. You give it a size. You can auto extend it, and you can do things like that. I think the SMS is more meant to be more dynamic. You will kind of set it up as just an initial size, and then it grows over time dynamically, depending upon your needs for the table space. And then I think automatic storage is supposed to be like a combination of the two, or have the best features of the two, I guess. So you need to set up that in a different way. That's maybe the one I think I recommend, is the automatic one. So just take a look here and see the table space configurations. You can see your typical ones we used for Oracle, PData and Dynamic Indexes, and all these other ones. And you get some statistics here, I guess, some auto resizing statistics, and a whole bunch of other stuff here. If you need to get into it, then you can get into it. And here you're in your containers. This is the equivalent of Oracle data files. These are the actual data files for these different table spaces. There's a lot of information you can get from here if you need to get into the table spaces and how they're set up and all that type of information. So let me go back to the presentation now. So we've covered the instance level commands and database level commands. Now here's some typical operations that we usually do. DB2. First thing here is we back up a database. Of course, we want to know how to back up a database. So here's the procedure to do it. So if you want to back up BG freeze QMA, you would bring down the environment associated with the database, plug into the database server, and log in as DB. force off all of these any connections that are to this particular database. Now, by bringing down the environment should have taken down most of the connections. Sometimes some of them linger. Sometimes users have their SQL developer connections. So we'll need to basically kill all those connections or ask the user to disconnect. We want to think that they're doing something. So to list all the applications that are connected to a particular database, this is how we would do it. If we looked at that last time, we can take just a quick look at that again, I guess. So here's the command you would use for BG freeze QA. And then once you've got the listing, you can force the applications off. This command here, force applications off. Basically, it's the equivalent, the Oracle equivalent to kill the session. And that's how you force them off. Once they're forced off, you can list again, just make sure that they're forced off. And here's the backup command itself to take a backup of the entire database. DB2 backup database name, 2, and then the backup directory without prompting. So here's what we would do for PG freeze QA. And we run that, and it might take some time, of course, before depending on the size of the database. And the output should indicate that the database was successful, and it should be database name. So I'll take just a quick look here at just the list command. I think we've done this command before, but let me just do it again here. So again, this is going to list all the applications that are connected to the database BG freeze QA. So it's got an active environment. So you can see it's got a whole bunch of connections. When they bring down the environment, a lot of these will go away. They indicate some of them might linger. So if they do linger, you would have to use the force command to kill them. This is the application handle, and that's what you would specify in the force command to kill that particular connection. Then once all the connections are down, you can, of course, indicate when the backup command, and they'll back up the database ready. So I think that's pretty much it for backing up a database. Other things you might want to do in typical operations where you can form, we run stats on the database. And
So Dave, so what kind of backup that would be? It's it copies binaries of all the files, binary files, or it's kind of export import?
Not really export import because it's not schema based.
Okay.
It takes the entire database, including all the schemas,
Okay.
and creates one file, which is a backup of the entire database. So I
Okay.
guess it'd be more like RMAN, I guess.
Or main or hot backup.
Yeah, it's a physical backup you are telling. Yeah, it's more of a physical backup than a logical backup like export import. Yeah, it backs up the entire database.
Okay.
Okay, great. And then we want to run stats on a table or in its indexes. And here's the command to do that. So you actually need to get connected to the database first. Then you would run this DB2 stats command. Usually I just get connected to the database, make a connection to the database as DB2 INS2 when it's administrative login. And then you would run this command and you'd give it the schema name. Pick the schema name in the database you want to, in the table name. So for BG freeze QA, I would connect to BG freeze QA as DB2 INS2 and then I want to run the stats on the accounts table and its indexes. I would run the command DB2 run stats on table BG freeze QA accounts and indexes all. So that runs through the stats on that particular schema, the accounts table on that particular schema. So that would be the running of the stats. And we usually do that when we refresh a database, store a database. We'll run stats on all the tables. We have a particular batch file, which actually goes through and does this command for every table in the database. Then you might want to reorg a table in its indexes. So reorg is something I think that just DB2 uses. I don't know there's an equivalent in Oracle for this type of command. Maybe Oracle doesn't need to do it, or maybe it does on the fly. I'm not sure. But in DB2, we do need to reorg tables typically when we perform structure changes on the table. We'll add columns. So if you add a column to a table, and then you need to reorg it, which I guess just format the table, I guess, is what it does. On disk, I guess it resizes the blocks, or I'm not exactly sure what it does in the background physically to the structure, the disk structure of the table. But it is something we require. We've noticed, certainly when usually if we add just one column, it's okay. If you add 2 or 3 columns, and then you start trying to do DML to the table, it fails. So you need to reorder the table, and then you start doing DML again, and it stops working again. So it's just something that you need to do for DB2 when you do structure changes to tables. Or if the structure change affects the index, you'll need to do it to the index as well. So these are the commands that you would use to do this reorg. So again, you connect to the database as DB2 on ISP1, and then you'd run the reorg on the table, or you'd run the reorg on the index, or both. So to do it for the BG freeze QA accounts table, you would use this command here, DB2 reorg table, BG freeze QA.counts, and then if you want to do the indexes for that counts table, you would use this command here.
Okay.
Okay, so that's running stats, and that's reorging. Just some references here. We've created some documents here and cheat sheets and notes over the years, and we can certainly share those things with you if you'd like to have those to contain just some more details on the other items. And then in addition there, IBM has a comprehensive set of documentation. Their website's pretty good. I think you can also, if you want to do the website, you can download, I think, PDFs of the versions of the documentation. So anything, you can just go to Google and query, DB2 10.5 or whatever topic you're interested in. And typically you'll get some information there pretty quick. Okay, so that's the administrative portion now of the DB2. So we covered some administrative topics. I think now we want to get into the specific BG config release and how we handle check-ins, build, deployment. So if it's okay with you guys, I'll start getting into that.
Yeah, it's okay. We can continue.
Okay, great. All right, so let me switch to a different document here. So I want to go over the workflow here for BG. BG is the client name for the users is this DB2. That uses GBP as DB2 as a underpinning. So there's a certain workflow that we have established for BG check-ins, and I want to go over that workflow with you guys. It's a totally manual process. There's no Jenkins, there's no automation really to it. It's just a totally manual process that we use for the BG. So let's go over each of the different phases. We have the same phases, but they're all manual phases. So here's the check-in. So the developer, of course, has a QC, and they do develop code and some DB portion, DB changes, and they do a unit test on their sandbox, and everything looks good, and now they want to check it in. So the step number 1 here is that the developer, of course, will go to the QC, and they will now assign this now to the CM team, which is typically Jim or Abhinav at our location here. They'll set it up with usage status of 6. They'll set up substatus of wait for build, and this will cue the CM team that the developers doing the check-in, and they need to do something here. All right, and then to check in the actual SQL, step number 2, they will go to Perforce, and there's a development folder in Perforce, and they will check it in to that particular script associated with each release, each view in each release. So for freeze, there would be a particular script for each version, and they would put their basically just copy paste their code into that file. So let me just show you where that is here. Bring up Perforce. Can you see my Perforce here? Perforce screen? Yeah.
Do you mean whatever the check-ins are being handled manually at this moment? You mean that?
That's correct. Yes, it's all handled manually.
But as far as I remember, earlier for NBG check-ins were being handled through masters directly, I believe.
Yeah, we're not set up in whatever the master structure.
Okay.
This project BG isn't set up in the master structure. I think they've looked at putting it into the masters, but I don't think they've done that yet. I don't know if that's they haven't done it because it's technically not possible, or maybe I've heard maybe the client doesn't want to receive their scripts that way, and so they pushed back on that.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, for whatever reason, it has not been set up as an automatic process through the masters and through Jenkins. So it's just totally a manual type process now.
Okay.
So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. You can continue.
Okay. So you go to Perforce and you set up your workspace, and as you see my workspace, it's BG Freeze workspace. Most of the action now for BG is happening in the freeze view. This is where most everything is taking place, although we still have the other views. It's not, most of the stuff happens in the freeze view. So you can see this is the freeze, and this is the structure here. We have a folder called development. Under development, we have a folder called BGC. And they used to be known as BGC, now the name is BG. So we have BGC, and then under here, these are the check-in files. So you can see you have different check-in files for different releases. The current release we have is 113.09. So this is the check-in file for 113.09. And so this is where the developer would put their code. So let's take a quick look at that file. And here's that file. So we just quickly look through it. So there's been a few check-ins for this 113.09. I had a check-in of a stored procedure. So what the developer does, just simply, is they put a start and finish comment around their code. So you can see my start comment here, and here's my stored procedure, and then down below, I have an end comment. So this is how we as DBAs know where the developer's code check-in, SQL check-in starts and finishes. So that's the first one here, and then there's a second one here that I did as well. And then the one I want to really key in on as a sample is the actual developer one. So you can see it's begin here by Kishore, and here's the end of his check-in here. And so this is what he checks in. So the developer just goes into Perforce, checks out that file, and then puts their code in there, just to the end of the file, and then they just check it back into Perforce. That's basically all that they do here. Again, totally manual process. So Kishore, this is what Kishore checked in to the end of the file, and then he's had some subsequent check-ins as well. But again, I just want to key on this one here. So it's just a delete P rules and P rules conditions, and he's adding some rules in here. So that's basically the steps for the check-in of the SQL. It's going to Perforce and putting in the file. And once they put it in the file, they issue number 3 here. They send an email. We call it a check-in notification. And this kind of kicks things off, indicating that a check-in has been done. So I'll just show you an example of what he did to check that in. So here's his check-in notification. So it's from Kishore, the BGC check-in notification. He sends it to all with this alias or email group called all GPv4 BGC check-in notifications. So that's the main one that he's sending it to. He'll indicate the branch and it's unit tested, what the synopsis is, the solution. They'll indicate whether it's a rule change or not, and this one is. Then it'll indicate the deployment, whether it's code or just code or DB or a combination of the two. And then he indicates the Java code, and then here's the script file, the one he just saw.
So how is version is maintained in this case?
How is the version maintained?
Yeah.
Not sure what you mean by exactly how the version, you mean the table, the version table?
So yeah, so version table is manually updated in each script or in some other way.
Well, this is the check-in portion. Now, beyond the check-in portion, there's going to be a DBA portion that we do. And for the DBA, we take this SQL, we put it into a script, and in that script, we also have an update command, which updates the version.
Okay.
So we can take a look at that, but that's how the version is maintained.
Okay.
That's how we maintain the version in the version table. So I'll get to, we can take a look at that, I'll get to that. Let me just go back to the workflow here. So that's the check-in portion. So now the developer has done their check-in, and they've alerted us to they've done the check-in. So now we need to do the equivalent of a build and deployment portion here, right? So this is what the DBA does: the build, deploy, and this wrap up here. What I call wrap up here. So let's take a look at the build. What do we mean by build? So for build, typically if you're doing this automated with Jenkins or we're doing it manually, the build is going to be you get the SQL and create a script from it, right? That's basically the main thing that a build does. So here are the steps that we're going to use. First of all, the DBA needs to pick up the developer SQL from Perforce. So we need to go into Perforce, and we need to look at this file, and we need to get the latest revision. So as you can see, I actually don't even have the latest revision. So I'm just going to pull down the latest revision here. So we would just go in here to BGC freeze, and we know that it was freeze because we check the notification. Go to the developer folder, BGC, and 113.09, and we'll just right-click, and I'll just duplicate the latest revision. So that's basically what we do to pick up the file. All right, so we've picked up the developer SQL. In the developer queue, the sample that I'm using is that check-in by Kishore, the rule changes. So we look at the file. We've already looked at it, and the change I'm looking at here is this one here. Again, there's been some subsequent changes as well that he's done, but I'm looking, this is the sample one I'm using. So if you're pretend that these other changes down below aren't there anymore. Aren't there yet. So these are rule changes. So this is what we look at the file and we would see he's doing some rule changes, he's doing some DML. So we look at what he's doing. And if we need to, we tweak it a little bit. Let's say maybe some of the developers, they only put inserts. So we add delete. Or they may do DDL. And they may do like a create table command, and they don't put the table space. So we add in the table space. We see what we need to do to tweak this a little bit if necessary. This one doesn't really need any tweaking. It's pretty much everything here. We just need to kind of throw in the file. So that we tweak the SQL as we needed to for reusability or performance or table spaces or whatever it is we tweak it for. If this is the first check-in, then we'll create a release folder for it. This wasn't the first check-in for 113.09, but if it was, we would create one for it. We typically would probably create one on our local system first, and then we maybe check it into the whole directory of the perforce. That's usually the way I do it. So we create the release directory. Then we need to create two other files, which are the DB script files. These are the actual files that we deliver to the customer. One is an install script. It's just a shell script, which essentially the customer uses to apply the DB scripts to their databases. And that's called install DB2 patch.ksh. Then there's another one, typically just one of these. We call it a V4 file, and that is the active script file. That's the one that would have the actual developer code in it, or probably for several developers over the particular release. So we can take a look at those files, and we can see what they look like. I'll show you where they are in Perforce first. So in Perforce, you see there's a development folder. There also is a release folder. And this release folder has all the different releases under it. And the current release we're working on is 113.09. And it has two scripts installed on DB2 and the V4. So, as I said, this is already set up, but initially, if this wasn't set up, we would need to create this folder under Perforce and add these two files for that first initial check-in. So let's take a look at those two files and see what they look like. So here's the install file. It's just a shell script, as I indicated, and basically it just helps. It provides the user a way to install the scripts. So it will ask the user for the schema, the user, and the password. And once it prompts the user for those, once it's got them, it will make a connection to the database, just like we would do manually if we were connected to the server. And then they need to, it will then run the particular script, the V4 script, which actually contains the actual SQL. So you can see here's the command to run that V4 script. We do a DB2, we do the plus C. Plus C, as you recall from last time, tells it DB2 not to auto-commit, to let us handle doing the commits. And then the minus T, I forget exactly what that was. I know I was going to look that up from last time. The D/ indicates that the slash is going to be our delimiter for the install file, the V4 file. So we're not going to use semicolon as a statement delimiter, we're going to use slash. That's because we've got some stored procedures in there, and we need to have, they have embedded semicolons, so we can't use semicolon as the delimiter. And minus V is verbose mode, I believe. And F indicates what file to run, and here's the V4 file, and we're going to pipe that all into a log file. So, hold on one second. Jay is indicating to me that the TD is actually one option. The T is terminator, D is delimiter. So TD indicates this one particular option. It's terminator delimiter. Delimiter. So that indicates that slash is the terminator delimiter.
Okay.
Just to clarify that. So this runs the DB2 statement here runs this batch file of SQL commands, which the developers have checked in. Then we do some other, that applies it to the database. And if it's DB2 select, I guess it just selects the version, version. And then we have some code here which tries to check for whether we've had errors or not. So I think it looks at the log files that we have, and it greps them for this SQL state. SQL state is what the DB2 uses typically to indicate there's some type of error. So we look and see if the log files we try to indicate or determine whether there's any type of error with the running of the script. And if there is, then we'll indicate that there was some type of error, we'll patch. If there was not, then we'll indicate the patch. There's no error. If there was an error, then we'll ask the user to please check the log file. So that's kind of what this shell script does. Now, if we take a look at the D4 file, this is the SQL that the developers have checked in.
Reading mode
here the check-in is for 113.09. We've got my check-in here, which is the sort of feature. And then the one I want to show you is the sample one that we're dealing with, and that's Shore's check-in. Checking it down here. So you can see this is the code that he checked in. We just tweaked it just a little bit because in this D4 file, we're using slash as a delimiter. We checked it in with semicolon as statement delimiter, so we need to convert it to slash in order for this D4 file to work correctly. So it was converted semicolon converted to slash. You can see it's pretty much the same commands that we checked in. We just put them into this one file, which is a collection aggregate of all the different check-ins. And then here you asked before about how do we update the version. We put this update version into this D4 file. So we say update the version to 113.09, and we give the date and the notes that we have. And so this is how the version gets updated. So this is what the DBA does. So that they take the code from the SQL from the check-in file, and they put it into this D4 file, create the install file, shell script as well. So they kind of just make sure that everything there works. We create everything there, we make sure it works correctly. Now, a new wrinkle here is sometimes there are HD scripts as well. We indicated the DG now has a reporting database. So if we need to update anything in the reporting database, we create a separate D4 HD script for the reporting database. And we would then tweak also the install file. The install file database, and then there's also QA databases. So how do we deploy to each of these databases? We get the CM team to bring down the environment, ensure that there's no connections to the databases. We then will copy the install and the v4 files, scripts to the particular to the DB server, which contains the databases, which is the US server. If this is the first time we're deploying, then we'll just run the install file, the v4 file, install file as is. If it's not the first time, then typically we will tweak the v4 files. We'll get rid of anything that happened from before, and we'll just run the latest code. We'll modify the scripts, we'll install the v4 scripts as needed, then we'll run them just as if the user, the end user would run them. So we'll run the install file, we'll ask for the database name and user password, and then they will apply the v4 script to the particular database. And we'll ensure that there's no errors, and we'll have the CM team bring up the environment. Just to show you that, or not to show you totally, but just to show you kind of where we do that here. So we're on the server here, database server. So we usually do that in a database folder called BG scripts. You can see we have different versions here, usually different versions. The latest one is let's say 4.0.113.09. We'll typically go here and we'll get the scripts from wherever we got them on our local machine, and we'll get them here via WinSDP or something like that. So you can see the install scripts. You can see the typical file here. So once we have those two in place, we run the install script, typically using the // install script here. This is going to ask us information on the username, the password, the database you want to apply it to. And then it'll go ahead and run the SQL script against that database. So I'm not going to do that now. You can see we run it several times here. So when you run it, it will indicate on the output whether there's a problem or not. If there was a problem, you can go into the log file here and take a look at that log file, and it will show the log file. I'll show that here. The log file will show each of the commands or output the commands, and it will indicate whether they were successful or not. So typically, the thing you look for is this SQL state with DB2's indication that there was a particular problem. If you see that then you're going to want to take a look at that and see why that failed. I don't see any here. Just look through the file here. So here's the stored procedure we're doing here. And you can see that here's the end of the stored procedure here. You can see it indicates that this was done successfully. So if I go down to the end here, you can see that the various commands here. So here's our sample here. Here's the rules changes that we saw. And you can see here there's a delete for fuels. Now it's done successfully here, the insert. These are all done successfully. So everything ran fine. There's no problems. So that's the log file. So you would run that install shell then for each of the different databases that you want to apply the script to. So you typically start with a sandbox and dev integration, and then once it's done the clean the testing and dev integration, then you would apply it to the QA. Let's go back to the workflow. So that's the deployments. So once you've done the deployments, I just in a section here called wrap up. And with wrap up, what we usually do as DBAs is we just send out a confirmation email notification that we've done this check-in, we've created the scripts. We check them with Perforce, and we apply them against the sandbox dev integration. So just to give you an indication of what that looks like. Then check in, I think this one here. Yeah, so here's the deployment, build and deployment notification that we send out. So we typically respond to the check-in notification, and we just say, we deploy the database changes for this C to the BG Freeze QA, BG Freeze DevI environment. We created a script for it. We put the script into Perforce, and we added the note into QC, and we assigned it to QA. And here's an indication of the file that we checked in. That's what we do there. Just to notify everyone that we've finished the DBA portion of this check-in. We put our note in QC as I indicated. This number 3, if there are any special items associated with this check-in, sometimes there are. We inform CM of those special items so that they can include those in the information notes if necessary, or they can include them in the release if necessary. Sometimes they're ad hoc scripts, sometimes they're just instructions that want to put in the installation notes. It can be various types of special case type things that they might need to put in there. And then the CM team will move the QC along and assign it to QA, and they'll move the status along and take care of that portion. So that's one check-in. Now, if there are subsequent check-ins, we just repeat this procedure, keep adding to the file until they're ready to release this to the customer. So when they're ready to release it, there's going to be a delivery. Typically, the CM team will handle the delivery. DBA doesn't usually involved. What they do is they just go into Perforce and pull all of the installed script and all the V4 files, and they'll put it into a package for the installation notes, and they'll, along with any special items that we've told them about, and they send that off to DG. So that's kind of the workflow here. The only other thing that I wanted to go into were there are some key points that I wanted to mention. Some of these we've already done before. So we already looked at the US, India servers for DB2. We already talked about SQL Developer and how to do the jar files and get connected to a DB2 database. Here are the current versions, views and releases for DB2. The skid, we haven't used this in a long while. I wouldn't worry too much about that. I'm not sure what's going on there. The main thing we use out of here is the freeze. Is the main thing we're pumping releases out of. The current delivered release now is 113.06, but we're working on 113.09 to show you that. Pre-prod and prod, they're both at the 113.06 releases. We haven't done too much with those, although we did have a pre-prod release previously. Sometimes they do release out of pre-prod, but mostly it's meant just the freeze. And I have a special note here. Some of the releases don't have database scripts, so the current code base may not match the database. So we see that we did have releases 113.07, 113.08. Those were code only, so there were no database changes. So that's why there isn't a match here, direct matching between code and database sometimes. Then we have the workforce creation, workspace creation. So you can again go into Perforce and create these workspaces for yourself. So the main one again is freeze. So for freeze, you'd want to really go into freeze and get that BGC freeze there may be V4 files for the HD, there may be HD V4 files for the reporting database if there's any SQL that needs to be run against the reporting database. So we have a V4 file for that. So that's kind of the naming convention for the scripts. We talked again about the statement terminator. It could be either the semicolon or the slash, depending upon the type of SQL that you've got in the script. And then we looked at how to call them differently, depending upon whether you're using the semicolon of the statement terminator or using slash instead of the terminator. Those are different calls. There's sometimes DDL. So the DDL create and alter statements, they get placed into the V4 file as standard SQL statements. So there's no equivalent to SPDDL to catch exceptions and to make this DDL reusable or rerunnable without errors. So that if they run it a second time, they are going to get an error saying that the table already exists or column already exists or whatever. So there's no equivalent to that. The DDL statements in DB2 are sometimes not exact equivalents to the Oracle statements. So you can see an example here of modifying a column. Here's the Oracle part, and here's what the DB2 equivalent would be for it. So there's a little bit of a difference there sometimes for the DB2 syntax. Then we talked about the reorg command. So if there are any structure changes, like adding a column or increasing the column length, then we need to add a reorg to the script. So we reorg the table and possibly the indexes. So that gets added to the end of the V4 script. Let's see. Build deployment, email notification samples. So we saw this before. This is what the DBA would send, indicating that they created the scripts and they deployed them and where they deployed them and filed the checks in. In terms of any special items that we need to notify the CM of, so they can include in the release itself. If they're like hard-coded table spaces, then we would alert CM to that because we want to tell the customer about that in case they're using different table spaces they'll need to tweak the script. If there's any new interface types, then we typically need to tell CM about that so that the customer will need to tweak that a little bit and with their custom configuration. Ad hoc script, this ad hoc script we want the CM team to include in the release. If there's any DB2 parameters that they need to get set, one of the ones that we've used in the past is this ATS, Administrative Task Scheduler. We saw that there was a registry parameter for that. So we changed over some of our stored procedures to use scheduling, using scheduler rather than run directly in real time. So they need to have that registry parameter set to yes, true, or one, or on, whatever, one of those four, so that scheduler will pick up those jobs. And then if there's any system parameters that we need to alert them to, one of the ones that we've had recently is this ARC. We have a parameter called ARC keep days in the active database, which indicates how many days to keep transaction records based on today's date. So when they run their end of day stored procedure, it will get rid of, drop partitions older than the today's date minus this ARC keep days. So it might be like 30 days, would be or 10, I guess. Something like so. Today's date minus 10, any partitions that are older than that date will be dropped as part of the end of day, running up this end of day stored procedure. Again, we have some references here that we've created over a period of time, spreadsheets and stuff, and certainly share those if you like us to do that. So I think that's pretty much it. We've covered some of the DB2 administration stuff. We've covered the VG workflow for the check-ins and deployments, builds, check-ins, deployments. I think that's all that I had to present today.
Yeah, no questions from my side.
Okay, okay. I think I did send you this last time. Okay, okay. Um, the other thing I wanted to just, the final thing, I wanted to give you the passwords. And I was going to send him my email when Jay said that probably wasn't going to be a good idea. I sent him my email. So I don't know if you want to, I don't know if you guys can copy and paste these where you are, or if you just want to take them down or whatever. But here are the passwords. The US database server is DB2IMST1, and that's the password for DB2IMST1 to get access to it. And then for the India database server, we actually have root password for there, root access there. So there's the root password, and there's the DB2IMST1 password, which is the same on the India server. So I wanted to just give those to you in case you guys wanted to get on and access those servers and try a few things, or just whatever you wanted to do, just so we will have them.
Okay.
So I think that's it. That's all that I have.
Yeah, it's very well documented there. That would be very helpful if we intend to do.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah. It's
Okay, well, I hope we kept you guys long enough. If you don't have any questions, then we'll sign off here. And thanks for attending. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure, Dev. Thank you very much for all your sessions and all the documents as well.
Okay, no problem. You're welcome. Okay, take care, guys. Have a good night.
Okay, thanks, Dev. Bye.